All right, guys, I have an afternoon editorial for you. Coming out of Baltimore, an afternoon editorial. Get rid of that low battery thing there. Now, this one's really long. I will put a link to the full story in the description box below. It's like 5 pages long. I'm only going to give you about 3, though. And the rest you can go and read because it's really long. But I'm going to give you the meat of it and the front of it and what they're really talking about. It deals with a cocaine bust and cops. Because that's what we talk about, right? Thank you, Baltimore, for this story. I'm going to put it right here. It was billed as the biggest cocaine bust in Baltimore Police Department history. Officers from the elite Violent Crimes Impact Division conducting surveillance on a West Baltimore drug trafficker a decade ago found 41 kilograms of cocaine in the back of a truck. The commendation award by the department to officers in the bust read just good old-fashioned police work from the ground up. But as the Gun Trace Task Force corruption scandal continues to break down the mythology around the department's hard-charging plainclothes units, federal prosecutors say that the record-setting bust was not as it appeared. Detective Ivo Lovato was charged Thursday with lying to the FBI about participating in a scheme to sell cocaine from that bust. Prosecutors said in court records that he and 2 others conspired to sell 3 kilograms that were not reported as seized, giving the drugs to a confidential informant to sell and dividing the proceeds among themselves. Lovato's alleged cut $10,000. Lovato is the 14th officer charged by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the continuing investigation, sparked in 2015 by a drug case that led to a wiretap of a police officer that uncovered long-running misconduct by members of the Gun Trace Task Force, including robbing citizens, lying in police reports, and drug dealing. 2 other officers were implicated in the latest charges. Former Sergeant Keith Gladstone, who pled guilty to taking in part in a BB gun planting incident and has not been sentenced yet, and an officer identified only by his initials VR. Because The Sun reported last week that police said Detective Victor Rivera, who was part of the unit at the time of the cocaine bust, was suspended as part of an ongoing investigation. Police now say he retired this month. He has not been charged with a crime. Attorney Brian J. Murphy, who's representing Lovato, declined to comment late Thursday, and Rivera could not be reached for comment. Gladstone's attorney has declined to comment. Now, it talks a lot about the investigation, how VR sold the cocaine to a confidential informant. But then I'm going to jump here to the end, because this is really long. But you guys can go read it if you want. It's interesting reading, especially if you're into that stuff. But I just want to show you that Baltimore has got some issues, and they need to solve these issues. But we'll jump down here where it says, so here's how police and federal prosecutors presented the cocaine bust at the time. Jenkins and Jester wrote in court papers that they had received information in late 2008 that someone named Chuck had been supplying dealers on the west side, and the officers said they knew Chuck was Murphy's nickname and that he lived on Prestman Street. In February 2009, the officers set up surveillance. After watching what they said they believed to be a drug sale, the officers got a judge to sign a search warrant for Murphy's home. There were no drugs inside, the officers said, but Jester asked him about a truck parked outside. Murphy denied owning it, but the officer said MVA records showed it was listed to him. The officers lifted an unsecured cover on the back of the truck and found cocaine before applying for a search warrant, but never mentioned their sneak peek when seeking permission to search the vehicle. The officers later admitted looking in the truck and claimed Murphy had led them to the drugs to spare his family from getting into trouble for something he did, they wrote in their report. Murphy's attorney sought to suppress the search, saying it was illegal. Then Assistant U.S. Attorney Philip S. Jackson, who is now a circuit court judge, argued that the car was used to facilitate and contained evidence of a crime, and the federal judge overseeing the case, then Chief Judge Benson Everett Legg, agreed. Legge said in a written ruling, the police may conduct a warrantless search if they have probable cause to believe that a vehicle was an instrumentality of a crime. He added that Murphy's repeated denials regarding the Chevrolet pickup, which the detectives knew belonged to him, MVA records, further established that the police possessed the requisite probable cause to conduct a warrantless search of that vehicle. The gist of this story is that the Baltimore Police Department has a lot of corruption that they need to deal with. And I'm bringing it all to your attention if you live in the Baltimore area or if you live in Maryland. Just know you guys got to keep them accountable. All of you Be More residents got to keep your officers accountable. There's so much corruption going on in that department right now. And anybody in the Baltimore Police Department that watches this video, you can argue all you want. We have it right there. Detective Ivo Lovato, allegedly you lied to the FBI. Allegedly you were robbing citizens, lying on police reports, and doing drug sales. What is going on in Baltimore, guys? Community Leo Watch, watching Leos as law enforcement officers from coast to coast and letting you know what's going on in Baltimore. Apparently the biggest cocaine bust in Baltimore history was really a scam. Or was it?